The journey through the Kybalion has been nothing short of transformative. Those who have followed all 15 chapters now stand at a threshold, one where knowledge is no longer just an intellectual pursuit, but a tool for self-mastery. The study of Hermetic principles isn't about passive learning. It's about shaping reality. Ancient wisdom was never meant to sit on a shelf. It was meant to be lived, tested, and shared. The true value of this knowledge isn't in how much one remembers, but in how deeply it changes them. Every great tradition, from the teachings of the Tao Te Ching to the esoteric lessons of the Hermetic path, emphasizes one thing: wisdom that isn't applied is just entertainment for the mind. The Kybalion doesn't exist to give people interesting concepts to discuss over coffee. It is a blueprint for transformation. Those who have reached this point understand that what they've learned has the power to shift their reality. And with that realization comes an unspoken responsibility to embody what has been revealed. The idea of mental transmutation is no longer just theory. It's a tool waiting to be used. Each principle studied isn't something external. It's a mirror reflecting the state of one's consciousness. Cause and effect, polarity, rhythm, and vibration aren't abstract laws. They are forces shaping every aspect of daily life. Understanding them means gaining control over them. And when one has control over their own mind, they stop being a passive participant in existence and start directing their destiny. Many study esoteric teachings as if accumulating knowledge were the goal. But initiation into higher wisdom isn't about information. It's about transformation. A person who reads every sacred text, yet applies none of it, is no different from someone who never studied at all. The real question is, what has changed? If someone claims to understand the Kybalion, but still reacts to life as they did before, have they truly grasped its power? Self-reflection isn't just encouraged, it's required. Now that this journey is nearing its conclusion, a deeper challenge arises. Those who reach the end of the book are faced with an important question. What comes next? True students of wisdom don't just absorb knowledge. They become living embodiments of it. The great Hermeticists of the past didn't just learn, they demonstrated. And in that, the real test begins. Will one simply acknowledge these principles, or will they shape their life through them? Chapter 1. Knowledge and Responsibility. Knowledge is never neutral. It either empowers or condemns. To understand something is to be responsible for it. The Kybalion teaches that knowledge isn't meant to be hoarded. It demands action. Those who grasp the principles of mental transmutation, polarity, and vibration can no longer claim ignorance. Every decision carries weight, and once a person sees the mechanisms behind reality, they are accountable for how they use that wisdom. The Hermetic path isn't about passive contemplation. It's about conscious creation. Many speak of enlightenment, but treat it like a personal prize rather than a duty. True wisdom isn't meant to be locked away in silence. Karma doesn't just apply to deeds. It applies to what one chooses to withhold. If someone understands how cause and effect shape destiny, yet refuses to share that knowledge, they aren't just failing themselves, they're failing those around them. Just as one benefits from the insights of those who came before, they too must contribute to the cycle of wisdom. Some hesitate to share what they've learned, fearing rejection or misunderstanding. But wisdom isn't about being comfortable. It's about being effective. Imagine a person standing by while others suffer in darkness, holding a lamp but choosing not to light the way. That is the weight of knowledge without responsibility. The difference between a seeker and a teacher isn't expertise, it's willingness. Those who truly understand universal laws don't wait for permission to embody them. Of course, sharing knowledge doesn't mean forcing it onto others. Not everyone is ready to receive certain truths, and forcing wisdom onto a closed mind only leads to resistance. The true Hermeticist learns to recognize when to speak and when to remain silent. The key is in leading by example. by living the principles so fully that others naturally take notice. When a person radiates balance, discipline, and clarity, their mere presence teaches more than words ever could. The responsibility of knowledge isn't just external, it's deeply personal. Once a person understands these teachings, they can no longer afford to live unconsciously. Every thought, action, and decision either aligns with wisdom or contradicts it. There is no middle ground. And as this understanding deepens, another question emerges. If one truly believes in these laws, are they living in alignment with them? Chapter 2: Coherence between knowledge and action. Many claim to understand wisdom, yet their lives reflect the opposite. The Kybalion teaches that knowledge without action is meaningless. A person may read about mental transmutation, vibration, and polarity, but if their behavior remains unchanged, what value does that knowledge hold? True mastery isn't found in how much one knows, but in how deeply they apply it. Understanding cause and effect means taking full responsibility instead of blaming fate. Recognizing mentalism means refusing to indulge in negative thought cycles. Wisdom demands coherence. Socrates stated, "Only useful knowledge is that which makes us better." If wisdom doesn't create change, it's just intellectual decoration. Shankara warned that memorizing truths without embodying them is like mistaking a recipe for a meal. Khalil Gibran emphasized that knowledge should be enriched and shared. These perspectives reveal a fundamental principle. Knowledge that isn't practiced is wasted. True learning isn't about accumulating information. It's about transforming one's existence. Without action, even the most profound insights remain lifeless. The law of vibration proves that thoughts shape reality. Yet, many acknowledge this but continue dwelling on negativity, reinforcing the very states they wish to escape. If a person truly grasps polarity, they won't resist negative emotions, but transmute them. For example, instead of battling fear, they cultivate courage. If they understand rhythm, they stabilize themselves instead of being ruled by emotional highs and lows. Mastery isn't in knowing these principles, it's in applying them daily. Self-mastery requires integrity between thought, word, and action. A person cannot claim balance while living in chaos. They cannot speak of self-awareness while acting on impulse. Many chase knowledge to feel enlightened, but avoid the discipline of applying it. The true test isn't in what someone says, but in how they live when no one is watching. Every moment presents a choice. Will one act according to wisdom, or will they continue making unconscious decisions? Mental transmutation isn't a theory, it's a practice. Life constantly reflects one's level of understanding. If external circumstances feel chaotic, they reveal an unbalanced inner world. If progress seems stagnant, it signals a failure to apply what has been learned. The real question isn't whether one believes in these laws, but whether their reality reflects that belief. If thoughts create reality, what does one's current life say about their true level of mastery? Chapter 3: The Law of Vibration and Attention. Reality is shaped by vibration. The Kybalion teaches that everything moves, nothing rests. Thoughts, emotions, and even physical circumstances are governed by frequency. A person's dominant vibration attracts corresponding experiences. Yet, most people allow their energy to fluctuate unconsciously, reacting to circumstances instead of directing them. True mastery begins when one takes control of their internal state. The key isn't to fight negative energy, but to elevate one's own frequency deliberately. The question isn't whether vibration influences reality, it's whether one is using it intentionally. Attention determines vibration. Where the mind focuses, energy follows. Those who fixate on fear, stress, or negativity strengthen those vibrations within themselves. Conversely, directing attention toward wisdom, self-improvement, and higher consciousness raises one's frequency. This isn't about forced positivity, it's about strategic awareness. Just as a musician tunes an instrument, a person must refine their mental and emotional state daily. By consciously selecting thoughts, words, and influences, one can sculpt their vibrational reality. Practical steps reinforce this process. Curating one's environment through the books they read, the music they listen to, and the conversations they engage in acts as vibrational hygiene. Immersing oneself in teachings of Hermeticism, philosophy, or Taoism shifts mental frequency. Structuring daily routines with meditation, journaling, or exposure to nature stabilizes internal energy. These are not abstract concepts, they are tools. Those who fail to apply them remain prisoners of external conditions. Those who do gain dominion over their state. Willpower is the anchor of transformation. One cannot expect a high vibrational life while indulging in low vibrational habits. Scrolling mindlessly through distractions, absorbing media designed to provoke fear, or surrounding oneself with negativity reinforces chaotic frequencies. Elevation requires discipline. The subconscious absorbs whatever it's fed, intentionally or not. Training attention is the difference between drifting through life and actively shaping it. Energy flows where focus goes, whether one is aware of it or not. Raising vibration isn't a mystical concept, it's a practical skill. The individual who masters this law doesn't wait for inspiration. They generate it. They don't hope for better days. They create them. Every moment presents a choice: reinforce old patterns or initiate a new frequency. The ability to shift one's state isn't reserved for the enlightened. It is available to anyone willing to develop self-discipline. And once one understands vibration, another principle naturally follows: the law of polarity. Chapter 4: The Law of Polarity, Overcoming Negativity. Every emotion, thought, and experience exists on a spectrum. The Kybalion teaches that what seems like opposites are actually two extremes of the same thing: fear and courage, love and hate, light and darkness. Each is a different degree of the same essence. Most people try to fight negativity directly, but resistance only strengthens what one seeks to eliminate. The key isn't to battle darkness, but to turn toward the light. True transformation comes not from suppressing emotions, but from transmuting them. Focusing on negativity amplifies it. A person who constantly thinks about fear reinforces its presence in their mind. The law of polarity offers a solution. Instead of resisting fear, one should cultivate courage. Rather than suppressing doubt, they should develop conviction. The shift isn't about pretending negativity doesn't exist. It's about consciously choosing the other end of the spectrum. If one's internal state is malleable, why not mold it in a direction that serves them? The mind follows where attention is placed. Practical application is crucial. Someone struggling with self-doubt doesn't need to obsess over eliminating it. They need to reinforce confidence. This can be done by taking deliberate action, speaking with certainty, training the body to hold strong posture, engaging in disciplines that develop mastery. Just as cold is transformed by adding heat, fear is dissolved by increasing strength. It's not about avoiding one's struggles, but about shifting focus toward the qualities that neutralize them. Mastering polarity means understanding emotional alchemy. Negative emotions shouldn't be feared. They should be understood as signals. Anger can be redirected into drive, sadness into introspection, anxiety into preparation. Instead of reacting to emotions as fixed states, one must see them as frequencies that can be adjusted. Those who internalize this principle gain a new level of freedom. They stop being victims of their emotions and start using them as tools for transformation. Polarity exists in all aspects of life. Those who fail to grasp this law get trapped in cycles of resistance, endlessly battling what they don't want instead of shifting toward what they do. Mental transmutation isn't about denial, it's about mastery. Once a person realizes they can move across the emotional spectrum at will, their experience of reality changes. And with this understanding, the next lesson becomes clear. The mind is fluid and can be reshaped entirely. Chapter 5. Mental Transmutation. The Power to Change. The mind is not fixed. It is fluid, adaptable, and subject to transformation. The Kybalion reveals that reality is shaped by perception, and perception is shaped by thought. Those who believe they are trapped in their circumstances fail to see the truth. They are only trapped by their own mental patterns. The power to change is always available, but it requires conscious effort. Mental transmutation isn't wishful thinking. It's the science of deliberately shifting one state to create a new reality. People limit themselves with language. Saying, "I am anxious," reinforces anxiety as an identity rather than a passing state. A subtle shift in wording, "I am currently experiencing anxiety," creates distance, making transformation easier. This principle applies everywhere. Someone who believes they are bad with money will unconsciously act in ways that reinforce financial struggle. Instead, they must adopt a growth-oriented mindset. "I am learning to master my finances." Changing language is the first step to changing reality. Mental transmutation demands a shift in perspective. Fear of death, for example, often stems not from death itself, but from a fear of an unfulfilled life. Instead of obsessing over mortality, one must ask, "Am I truly living?" Rather than fearing failure, a person should cultivate resilience. The mind follows where attention goes. Focusing on possibility rather than limitation rewires thought patterns. The Hermeticist understands that transformation doesn't happen by accident. It is an intentional act. Growth requires continuous effort. Many people want change, but resist the work involved. They seek quick fixes rather than deep transformation. But self-mastery isn't an overnight process. It's a discipline. Just as the body is strengthened through training, the mind must be exercised daily. Reading ancient wisdom, practicing self-reflection, and developing new habits reinforce transmutation. Those who commit to this process realize that who they are today is not who they have to be tomorrow. The greatest illusion is the belief that change is impossible. The mind is a tool, and those who learn to wield it shape their own reality. A stagnant mindset creates a stagnant life, while an evolving mind expands its possibilities. The real question isn't whether transformation is possible. It's whether one is willing to do what it takes. And once this truth is understood, a new realization follows. Transformation isn't just personal, it influences everyone around us. Chapter 6. Influence and Ethical Responsibility. Transformation doesn't happen in isolation. The Kybalion teaches that as one raises their consciousness, they naturally affect those around them. A person who embodies wisdom, discipline, and self-awareness doesn't need to preach. Their presence speaks for itself. Just as a tuning fork can bring another into harmony, a mind operating at a higher vibration subtly influences others. But with this influence comes responsibility. Knowledge isn't meant to be hoarded. It must be shared wisely and ethically. Every action creates a ripple. Someone who consistently operates from a place of clarity and balance unconsciously sets an example for those around them. When a person practices self-mastery, they inspire others to do the same. This doesn't mean forcing wisdom onto those who aren't ready. It means embodying it so fully that others become curious. People don't change because they're told to. They change when they see a new possibility reflected in another. Influence is most powerful when it is lived, not imposed. The ethical responsibility of knowledge is often ignored. Many seek personal growth, but fail to recognize that wisdom comes with duty. Understanding Hermetic principles isn't just about personal enlightenment. It's about contributing to the whole. If one sees someone trapped in illusion, should they remain silent? If they know a truth that could free another, is it right to withhold it? The challenge lies in discernment. When to speak, when to listen, and when to simply be the example. The law of cause and effect applies here. Those who share wisdom with good intent plant seeds that will eventually grow, even if not immediately recognized. Conversely, those who manipulate knowledge for personal gain will face karmic consequences. True teachers guide without ego, offering knowledge as a tool rather than a weapon. A person aligned with universal laws understands that wisdom isn't about control, it's about service. Helping others rise naturally elevates the one who gives. Personal transformation is the first step, but it is never the final one. The more one evolves, the more they realize their impact on others. Every choice, every word, every action either elevates or diminishes the collective energy. The question isn't whether one influences the world. It's whether that influence is conscious or unconscious. And as one understands this deeper responsibility, another principle comes into focus: how to stabilize one's own rhythm in an ever-changing world. Chapter 7. The Law of Rhythm. Finding Balance. Everything moves in cycles. The Kybalion teaches that life follows a rhythmic flow, ups and downs, expansions and contractions. Those unaware of this law are thrown by every shift, feeling euphoric when things go well and devastated when they don't. But those who understand rhythm learn to neutralize its effects. The key isn't to resist the tides of life, but to rise above them. Stability isn't found in trying to stop movement, but in mastering how one responds to it. Rhythm governs emotions, circumstances, and even consciousness. A person may feel deeply connected to their higher self one day and disconnected the next. This doesn't mean they've lost progress. It means they're experiencing natural fluctuation. Understanding this prevents unnecessary frustration. Instead of fearing setbacks, one must anticipate them. Just as seasons change, so do mental states. Those who recognize this stop reacting impulsively and start acting with intention. Mastery lies in maintaining inner equilibrium, regardless of external shifts. Practical techniques reinforce balance. Meditation stabilizes thought patterns. Journaling provides clarity, and structured routines create consistency. Engaging with high-frequency content, books on Hermeticism, philosophy, or esoteric teachings, keeps the mind anchored. Physical habits matter too. Movement, breath work, and even posture influence emotional stability. People often assume balance is about stillness, but true stability comes from adaptability. A tree withstands the wind not by resisting, but by bending with it. The greatest trap of rhythm is ego attachment. Many chase emotional highs, mistaking them for progress, and fear the lows, believing they've failed. But wisdom isn't found in extremes, it's found in the center. The Hermeticist learns to observe the oscillations of life without being enslaved by them. When things are good, they remain grounded. When challenges arise, they remain steady. Those who master rhythm navigate life with a sense of calm that others struggle to understand. Finding balance is more than personal. It's a form of service. A centered individual radiates stability, influencing those around them. The world is filled with people ruled by emotional tides, reacting impulsively to every shift. Those who embody equilibrium provide an anchor in chaos. And once a person understands rhythm, they unlock a greater truth. If life moves in cycles, one can either be passively carried by them or actively shape their own destiny. Chapter 8. Cause and Effect. Taking control of one's destiny. Nothing happens by chance. The Kybalion teaches that everything is governed by the law of cause and effect. Every action, every thought, every decision creates a corresponding outcome. Most people drift through life as passive participants, reacting to events as if they were victims of fate. But those who understand this principle realize they are not at the mercy of circumstances. They are the architects of their own reality. The question is not whether one is affected by this law, but whether they are using it consciously. A person who fails to act with awareness becomes subject to the will of others. Those who don't take control of their lives will inevitably be controlled by external forces, society, culture, and even unconscious patterns inherited from past experiences. This is why self-awareness is essential. Those who master cause and effect don't wait for life to happen. They create intentional causes that lead to desired results. They understand that every decision is a seed, and the harvest is inevitable. Elevating consciousness is the key to transcending blind causality. Most people react impulsively, unaware that their responses are reinforcing cycles they wish to escape. Someone who constantly complains unknowingly attracts more reasons to complain. A person who cultivates discipline and clarity, however, shapes their destiny with precision. Instead of wondering why things happen to them, they start directing what happens through them. Life stops being random when one starts making conscious choices. This principle applies to all areas of life. Financial stability, personal growth, and even relationships are the result of accumulated causes. A person who invests in learning gains wisdom. One who trains their mind sharpens their perception. Those who cultivate integrity attract meaningful connections. Those who fail to act are not exempt from the law. They are simply at the mercy of causes set in motion by others. To master life, one must master the art of deliberate action. The law of cause and effect isn't just about personal success. It's about freedom. Those who grasp it no longer feel trapped by circumstances. They understand that every effect in their life traces back to a cause they either initiated or allowed. This realization is both empowering and humbling. The question then becomes, if one's future is shaped by today's choices, what kind of reality are they setting into motion right now? Chapter 9. Transcendence and the Role of Wisdom. True wisdom is not about accumulating knowledge. It's about liberation. The Kybalion teaches that most people are trapped in illusions, mistaking temporary conditions for ultimate reality. They chase material success, validation, and fleeting pleasures, believing these things will bring fulfillment. But history proves otherwise. The greatest minds, Confucius, Plato, Marcus Aurelius, did not seek power for its own sake. They sought to rise above the illusions that enslave ordinary consciousness. Transcendence is not about escaping life. It's about seeing it clearly. The wise understand that reality operates beyond personal desires. Those who cling to ego-driven pursuits remain caught in cycles of suffering. The law of cause and effect ensures that actions driven by greed, fear, or vanity inevitably lead to consequences. Meanwhile, those who align themselves with universal laws act with a greater purpose. They don't seek fleeting success. They seek to refine their character. The question is not what one gains in this world, but who they become through their choices. Fame, wealth, and recognition are illusions when viewed from a higher perspective. Many chase external achievements only to realize, too late, that they were running in circles. The Stoics understood this well. Seneca warned that life is wasted when spent pursuing things that do not last. The Hermeticist goes further, understanding that even the mind itself must be refined. Thought patterns must be examined, biases dismantled, and limiting beliefs transmuted. Self-improvement is not a luxury. It is the path to clarity. One must ask, am I living for something greater than myself? The most enlightened figures in history dedicated themselves to wisdom, discipline, and service. They understood that the mind, when purified, becomes a tool for transformation. But this path is not for those who seek comfort. It is for those who seek truth. To transcend ordinary existence, one must be willing to confront their own illusions, dismantle false beliefs, and reshape their reality. The pursuit of wisdom is not about superiority. It is about responsibility. Those who see beyond the surface have an obligation to act accordingly. The Hermeticist does not seek power for control, but for refinement. True transcendence means breaking free from the conditioning that keeps people trapped in mediocrity. And with this realization, another truth emerges. Reality itself is not fixed. The mind, when properly trained, can reshape it entirely. Chapter 10. The Ultimate Transmutation, Mental and Spiritual Growth. Reality bends to the mind that understands it. The Kybalion teaches that all is mentalism. Existence itself is shaped by thought. Most people believe the world is something external, something that happens to them. But the truth is far more powerful. The mind is the source of reality, and by altering thought patterns, one alters the very fabric of their existence. The difference between stagnation and transformation lies in whether one passively absorbs reality or actively creates it. Changing the mind changes the world. Every belief, every assumption, every internal dialogue constructs the reality one experiences. Those who complain that life is unfair are reinforcing unfairness. Those who dwell on limitations strengthen them. But those who train their minds to operate at higher frequencies elevate their entire existence. This is not theory. It is cause and effect in action. The law of mental transmutation states that everything begins in thought before it manifests in form. Mental discipline is the foundation of transformation. The subconscious mind absorbs whatever it is repeatedly fed. A person who constantly reinforces fear, doubt, and chaos will see those patterns reflected externally. But someone who actively reshapes their thinking through meditation, study, and self-awareness gradually shifts their reality. This is why ancient traditions emphasized rigorous mind training. One does not wait for change. One becomes the change. Many try to alter external circumstances without addressing the root cause, their own mental state. They attempt to fix relationships, careers, or finances without transforming the thought patterns creating those situations. But adjusting the external while neglecting the internal is like trying to change a reflection in a mirror instead of changing the object itself. The Hermeticist understands that reality is a projection of consciousness. True mastery comes from refining the mind, not manipulating the world. Spiritual growth is the ultimate transmutation. It is the shift from unconscious existence to deliberate creation. Those who embark on this path realize that the greatest power isn't wealth or influence. It's the ability to direct one's mind. Every challenge, every obstacle, every perceived limitation is an opportunity to apply these principles. The question is not whether one can transform their reality, but whether they are disciplined enough to do so. And as this realization sinks in, one final truth emerges. Wisdom is meaningless unless it is lived. Chapter 11. The journey does not end here. Reaching the end of the Kybalion is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning. Knowledge that is not applied is wasted, and wisdom that is not lived is meaningless. Those who have followed this path now stand at crossroads. Will they allow these teachings to remain abstract ideas, or will they integrate them into every aspect of their existence? The choice is theirs. Understanding the Hermetic principles is one thing. Embodying them is another. True mastery comes not from knowing, but from being. Every chapter studied, every principle explored, leads back to one truth. Reality is shaped from within. Those who grasp the power of mentalism, vibration, and cause and effect now have no excuses. Life does not happen by accident. It unfolds according to the mind's command. And yet, many will still hesitate, clinging to old patterns, waiting for permission to transform. But those who truly understand this wisdom know that waiting is an illusion. The time to act is now. The world is filled with distractions, pulling attention away from higher understanding. Those who seek wisdom must cultivate discipline, protecting their mind from the noise of the ordinary. The Hermeticist is not ruled by the external world. They shape it. Every action, every thought, every intention becomes a tool for self-mastery. This knowledge is not for mere contemplation. It is for evolution. One must ask, am I applying what I have learned? If not, then all of this has been in vain. There will be moments of doubt, but doubt itself is a test. The law of rhythm ensures that there will be highs and lows. The law of polarity guarantees that struggle will always exist alongside growth. But those who persist, who continue refining themselves, will see their reality shift in ways they never imagined. The path of wisdom is not easy, but it is the only path worth walking. Those who truly commit to self-transformation will never look at life the same way again. And so, the final lesson is clear. Knowledge without action is an illusion. Those who have reached this point have a responsibility, not just to themselves, but to the world. The greatest wisdom is not spoken, it is lived. The Hermetic path is a path of mastery, but mastery is a choice. The question is not whether these principles work. The question is whether one will have the discipline to apply them. The journey does not end here. It only begins. Conclusion. It's time to stop waiting and start acting. Now that you understand these principles, what will you do with them? Will they remain just interesting ideas, or will you use them to reshape your reality? Knowledge without action is an illusion. The greatest minds throughout history weren't just thinkers, they were doers. They didn't wait for change, they caused it. And now, you stand at that same threshold. You can either remain a spectator of your own life, or take full control. The choice is yours. If you've ever felt like life is pushing you around, repeating the same cycles, the answer is right in front of you. The Kybalion teaches that reality bends to those who understand its laws. But understanding isn't enough. You have to apply it. Are you training your mind? Are you using the law of cause and effect to create your destiny? Or are you letting it control you? The difference between those who succeed and those who don't is simple. Discipline. It's time to stop waiting and start acting. Let these principles guide you. Test them. Live them. See for yourself how reality responds. And if this journey resonated with you, subscribe and turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning. Drop a comment below. Which Hermetic principle has impacted you the most? Let's take this wisdom further together.